These are the untold stories of the ER.
Watching another Untold Stories of the ER documentary episode, girls.
Yes, Alfie. This is the documentary of a police officer's legs crushed between his patrol car and another car. The suspect gets arrested and is charged with attempted murder and first-degree assault. He had multiple broken bones.
I see. I saw this episode before when Rob Little, who plays as Officer Todd Bush, gets hit by a car and crushed by it. Seeing that his limbs were really bleeding out, that blood ended up on the doors of his patrol car. He was able to walk again and not have his limbs amputated because of how serious they were. I have a feeling he was in a wheelchair for a while and then in medical boots until he can go to physical therapy and then be able to return to the force as a cop again. This all occurred in 2002. Then made a surprise visit to his old friend Doctor James Klein in 2003. Jim Klein couldn't believe how much he progressed from the time he was injured to the time he was walking again.
Is that what happens? I haven't watched Untold Stories of the ER in a long time. I've been watching Rescue 911, as well as Starsky and Hutch, Adam 12, Emergency, Chips, Charlie's Angels, Code Red, Little House on the Prairie, Love Boat, 911 The Bronx, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Backdraft, The Rookies, The Third Watch, Knowing, The Taking of Pelham, 9/11 documentary from 2002 by the Naughty Brothers, Super Mario Logan re-uploaded, SNL, SLL, SBL, The Bravest featuring Rescue 1 along with Rescue 2, Engine 75 Ladder 33 Battalion 19 and the Chase Driver, San Francisco Fire Department, Newark Fire Department, Philadelphia Fire Department, and Tornado Alley Real-Time Tornado Hattiesburg on the Weather Channel on Channel 62 since we have cable vision.
He looks up and he asks me,
I swear that guy was a complete jackass because he caused his car to become smoky at the engine and to damage Bush's patrol car and causing damage to his limbs and extremities.
how are they?
Todd, just try and lay still.
How are my legs?
I agree with you, Alfie. Todd Bush, who was played by Rob Little. His vital signs was the pulse was 116, BP was 170/88. He lost a lot of blood when his bones broke and stuck out of his limbs. His partner Kelly Miller couldn't do much about his injuries except call for immediate backup for an officer down. He recovered after having surgery to repair his crushed limbs and to have 2 weeks of surgery to cover his limbs with skin grafts.
I hope he's all well and healthy after that horrible recreation story of that incident. Those injuries were so severe that he almost died from them.
The patients, you don't want to tell them, oh my gosh, they're going to cut your legs off. His legs look really bad. See, there's no way he's keeping these legs.
Patrolman Todd Bush was maliciously crushed between 2 cars and is being rushed to the hospital. Medics Anthony Brooks and Jeff Smith have no illusions as to the officer's condition.
Dispatch, this is Fireman 54. We are inbound with a male police officer struck by a car pitched between 2 vehicles.
Hang in there. Just a few more minutes.
They can fix him, can't they? All you need to do is put him in a cast, right? We thought that there's no way he was going to keep his legs.
They've got some of the best trauma teams in the city, maybe in the whole state.
That he would never be on the street against a police officer, or even be a police officer for that matter after that.
All preparations in the emergency room are being coordinated by lead ER physician Doctor James Klein.
When you hear a cop is coming in, it's not an everyday occurrence, and let's face it, when a police officer or firefighter is injured, it's a little closer to home.
Come on, let's put him in 2.
He got a multiple fib fractures, both lower extremities. He got a right fracture. He's been awake and alert throughout. A pulse of 116.
BP is 136/88. There's no flow in the lower left extremity.
Stretcher rolls in with patient on the stretcher.
And here's X-ray lower left first.
I look down.
Oh my God.
Jamie, is that you?
Todd?
I see Officer Bush, who I've known for several years.
What happened?
You got me pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Normally, in order to take care of people, you really have to blunt your emotions. But it's very difficult to do when it's somebody that you know,
Okay,
somebody that you care about.
Let's run all the normal fluids wide open, and I need to get a better look at these legs. Let's get these splints off. Just leave
It
them.
looked real bad once we exposed his limbs.
My legs. They're pretty banged up, huh?
Yeah, well,
They wouldn't let me look at them.
the sooner we can get them up for surgery, the better.
Bottom line was, they didn't know at this point whether or not they would be able to save him.
Jamie, please don't let them take my legs.
Todd's wife, Becky Bush, arrives at the hospital.
Bush, he's a police officer, and his wife.
We were kind of high school sweethearts. We met when I was a junior and he was a senior.
I'll be right there, Miss Bush.
When I walked into the hospital, the hallway was lined with police
Right this way.
officers, and that's when it really hit home that it was real serious. They had already put his legs in the anatomically correct position, and he looked like he was sleeping.
He'll be okay.
Well, we're going to take him in for a CAT scan and then into surgery. The good news is that the damage appears isolated to his legs. Bad news, his legs, the bones were hit pretty badly and they're broken in multiple places.
Can I talk to him?
Well, he has been sedated, but yeah, you can talk to him. Sure, come on.
Can you hear me?
I just grabbed his hand and whispered in his ear that I loved him.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Dr. French is closing up. OR will be ready in 5.
Good. Have him meet us at CT.
If you come with me, I can take you someplace comfortable to wait. I'm right here, honey. Wait, hold on, wait.
And they brought me out his badge and a little cross that his dad had made that he always carried in his pocket.
Dr. James Klein struggles to help patient and friend Officer Todd Bush, whose legs were crushed after being hit by an irate motorist.
He's definitely needing surgery. From the moment his pants were cut and his lower limbs exposed, it was obvious he would need surgery.
French, thanks for coming down.
Now, the future of Officer Bush's shattered limbs rests on orthopedic trauma surgeon Bruce French.
Listen, Bruce, I know this guy.
I'll give you a call when I'm done.
Appreciate it. His wife's in the family.
We see right away that he's got some significant injuries. Think of a pancake, just flattened out and short, and one leg going one way and the other leg going the other way. Officer Bush went right from the CAT scan to the operating room.
Up in the OR, Dr. French and reconstructive trauma surgeon Jerry Burge see firsthand how bad Todd's injuries are.
Thanks for coming down at such short notice.
No problem. Looks like we've got our work cut out for us.
This was a difficult problem. It was a long area of bone that was exposed. There was a large amount of crush injury.
There's not much left here, is there?
Officer Bush's muscles are crushed. He's missing almost all the skin over the right lower extremity. Basically from the knee down towards the ankle is all dead skin.
He's got compartment syndrome, both legs.
Compartment syndrome is basically when you have too much stuff in too little space. You have to remove all the dead skin, the dead muscle, the dead tendons.
Will there be any skin grafts available for later? It's hard to say. Still have to see how extensive the damage is.
The whole case, you're thinking about things that can go wrong.
You want to give everybody an opportunity, but you have to be realistic. We don't know if we can save Officer Bush's legs.
Downstairs, Todd's wife Becky can only wait and pray.
I had never been through anything like this before, and it's really difficult. It's hard. Todd is so active, and for him not to be able to have his legs and do the things he absolutely enjoys would be horrible.
Chestnut. Officer down.
Officer Todd Bush's legs have been crushed by an out-of-control driver.
BP 102/58.
Now, surgeons Bruce French and Jeremy Burge try their best to save them.
This is basically a search and destroy mission. Find the non-viable tissue and get rid of it.
Once Dr. French removes as much dead tissue as possible, he attempts to repair the bones.
Femurs in 2 parts, tibias in 3.
A lot of damage. You think it can be saved?
I don't know the extent of the neurological injuries. If it's significant, this is all for nothing.
Stabilizing the bones is reasonably straightforward.
We need a rod for both the femur and tibia. Let's get some K-wires as well.
You want the rod first, Doctor?
Yes, please.
Make a hole in the end of his femur bone and a hole in the top of his tibia bone. One rod goes up, one rod goes down. You can line things up, get things to heal. The question is what sort of function they're going to have in the long run.
A success is not 90% working. A success is 100% working. And if you get less than 100%, it's 100% failure.
I think that's all the surgery can take for today.
I'll wrap his legs if you want to go ahead and talk with his family.
Downstairs, Becky Bush waits for word on her husband.
The whole force is praying with you.
But she doesn't wait alone.
We had so many people coming in, officers, friends, family. I was, tunnel vision, thinking of Todd, hoping and praying that he would be okay.
Mrs. Bush?
The mood was decidedly somber. The first question is
he going to make it?
Will he live? Oh, yes.
And the next question is,
Will we have our officer back again?
and it's really a question you can't answer. I'm a simple bone fixer, and I can't tell you how the function's going to be.
The next few weeks are going to be really critical.
I can show you 100 different patients with the same basic injury.
Really no guarantee that he will have full function in his legs again.
You're going to get 100 different outcomes in terms of this guy can walk, this guy can't walk at all.
Officer Todd Bush is in the intensive care unit after undergoing surgery to repair his crushed legs. Orthopedic surgeon Bruce French brings Todd's wife to his bedside, where she sees her husband for the first time since the operation.
Is something wrong?
It's waking up. Todd? Todd, can you hear me?
He was awake. He was on some pretty heavy-duty pain medicine, but he was awake.
I love you. Right here.
Over the next 2 weeks, Officer Bush undergoes a series of painstaking operations to cover his legs with skin grafts.
He has surgery every 48 to 72 hours.
We don't have the freedom to make it look the way we might want to make it look. I have to make it look the way it'll work best. And how it looks is something we deal with later, if at all. His attitude was always that he was going to get better, that he was going to walk again.
Todd was the patient who didn't say, why me? He didn't play a sick card. He didn't sit in his bed. He worked exceedingly hard with therapy.
A year later, Officer Bush makes a surprise visit to his old friend, ER Doctor James Klein.
It was the first time I'd seen him walk. It was unbelievable.
He about fell over. I think he was glad to see that I was up and walking. I can do most everything I did before. I do have some limitations, but for the most part, I get around pretty good.
I just feel very happy that I was able to keep him regardless if he could walk or not. I'm just happy that he's here.
Hey, it's good to see you up and about again.
Hey, like you guys, just do my job.
Todd Bush put the tragic incident behind him and returned to the police force.
Everybody says that they can't believe